All right, so I have one core product, right? It is the daily reflection. And I decided maybe, hey, let's do as Bill sees it as another daily thing. But, as I was putting that together, and I had that thought of like, was this a coincidence or was it God? And I've had a lot of those recently. So instead of as Bill sees it, let's do was it coincidence or was it God? And interested to see if you guys have similar thoughts or what you think. And as we go through this, I think what I'll do is try to talk through my experience in finding God or what that meant to me or the challenge, because it wasn't easy. And I think I've described that before. But on today's first installment of Was It a Coincidence or Was It God? This weekend on Saturday, I took a trip up to see a friend of mine I met in my IOP. It was about an hour drive. He wanted to go to a place that was about an hour away from that for barbecue. Last time he was in kind of my IOP, I'd mentioned I want some barbecue food, and we weren't able to connect earlier in the month, so we decided on that. And let me tell you, I was excited. I love some barbecue. I'm a brisket man myself, but I love going to a place and someone saying, this is what's really good, let's get it. So that's what we did. So I drove up there about an hour, got in the car. Interesting thing is on this stretch of highway, I made a call to one of the guys that used to work for me. I made a very similar call to him, almost 3 years ago. When I was looking for a new job, a company we'd work for, it just kind of collapsed. We ran out of money. It was a mess. And I had gotten on a rescue boat, and he was still searching and looking for a rescue boat. And looking back on the call, that's probably pretty, braggadocious about I'm good, you're fucked kind of thing. Interesting thing was when I called him this time, it was the opposite. I'd met with a guy who's, running a sales motion, and this guy's name popped up for me. And I was like, you need to talk to this guy. So I talked to him. He's a great guy, growing person, but what have you. It dawned on me that I was on that same stretch of highway a couple years ago. But, one of the things in the AA messaging is just like, you help another, right? And the promises will come true. So it was just by happenstance that I happened to call him on that same stretch of highway. And I hadn't thought about that conversation in a long time. So, was it God or was it coincidence? On that one, I don't know. I was just calling someone I worked with. But as I move further into the drive, I stop for gas. I'm about 15 minutes away from where I need to go, and kind of lost in thought, missed my exit. And I go to get off at the next exit, and oddly enough, this exit is where my recovery center was, my rehab. It's a place I've never been to before. It's an exit I can't tell you I've ever remembered seeing before, but I have driven past that exit because I've been on that stretch of highway. But geez, that was a reminder. So I picked up the phone, made a call to the director of that place, and left him a message. I'm looking forward to chatting with him when the time does arise. And just kind of one of those, wow, that's kind of cool moments. When I turned around to get off at the next exit, which is where my buddy lived, was where my dad and I stopped on the way back from my rehab. And that was a sad day, right? I'd just gotten out of rehab. No one really knew what was going on. Life clearly was erratic or unstable is a good way to put it. We didn't know what we didn't know because the work had really just begun. And we stopped for some jerky, and I went inside, and I got the jerky, and then we drove home. That exit where my buddy was that same exit. And I remember that feeling of kind of walking in to get jerky, and God, is Dad going to think I'm going to buy a beer, or, any of that other shit. And this time I got off the exit, I saw where we got that jerky, and it made me smile, kind of made me laugh, because there's some growth. And, I don't know if it's part of the promises, but one of the promises is, fear of people will go away. I was going to meet someone that I'd met in an IOP class. intensive outpatient or rehab. I'd really only stayed in touch with one of those people previously in my life. So it was cool. It was kind of a turning point in that conversation. And this guy's done some really cool stuff in his recovery, gotten a new job, turned some corners, and he's had some, is it God or is it a coincidence type moments? But get off at his place and drive over, and just had an absolutely wonderful day. But I ask you guys, did I miss the exit because it was a coincidence? Did it happen to be the exit where I went to rehab? Was that a coincidence? Was all of this just a reminder that what I'd been through, where I'm going, was that a coincidence or was it God? Love your thoughts. Thanks for listening to my ramble there.